Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Renu Sharma. So to give you an overview, I'm not a certified consultant or an immigration expert, but as I mentioned in my previous video, that I do have an experience with immigration industry and have applied for my own PR back there in 2014 for Canada. I came to Canada in February 2015 and got my citizenship in 2019, that's January. So I'm kind of familiar with the process, but again, I'm going to follow all the instructions which is being given on our main website, that's cic.gc.ca, and I have gathered all the information from the official website, so it's all available there. And in case if you have any confusion or you are in dilemma, I would recommend to refer to the website. Now, moving on to PNP for Saskatchewan program. What exactly is PNP? It's a provincial nominee program, and it's an agreement held between the Canadian government and local provinces, which allows 11 out of Canada's 13 provinces and territories to nominate a large number of international candidates with or without job offer for permanent residency. Now, this program was created to promote growth and progress in the local workforce, so that each and every territory will decide based upon their demographic needs and economy, that what kind of skills they are looking for and how they can fill the gap, like the labor market gap. So now today we are going to discuss about PNP program for Saskatchewan. Now moving on to the next, why one should plan for Saskatchewan. First of all, let's discuss about what Saskatchewan is. It's one of the one of Canada's prairies provinces, and few of you may not be aware of that there are three prairies that's landlocked. The first is Alberta, where I live. The second one is Saskatchewan, and the third one is Manitoba. Saskatchewan was once known as a breadbasket of the world, which means that it's a leading exporter of many crops. Like the pulse crop is one which is very much popular out there. Now, Saskatchewan is very lucrative in terms of job opportunities, and if you see the data of April 2020, even after COVID, the unemployment rate is less than 4%. That makes it a good place to find work. Majority of people actually flock to major cities like Toronto, BC, and even to Calgary. So unemployment rate is relatively low. Now, when there are not many people, eventually the living costs are not insanely expensive in Saskatchewan. You can easily get an accommodation of 2 to 3 rooms in between $800 to $1,000 in cities like Regina, Saskatoon, even Prince Albert, Moose Jaw. So that's a great advantage. You can also enjoy locally grown and sourced foods. So that's a good thing, that if you're coming from India, and it does have strong agriculture industry. So that ways you can enjoy good and quality food out here in Saskatchewan. A lot of people have a dream to experience the view of Northern Lights. So yes, you can actually see that in Saskatchewan. And as I mentioned before, there are a number of job opportunities out there. And as per NOC, that National Occupation Classifications, I have categorized this job opportunities in the industry like agriculture, energy, hospitality, healthcare, and all that. So you can always look for that list in NOC. Moving on to the next. Now, this program is actually divided into categories. That's Saskatchewan Immigration Nominee Program. It's divided into 4 category. The one is international skilled worker category. This is what we are going to discuss today. The other one is Saskatchewan experience category, and then is entrepreneur category and farm category. So we're going to discuss this one. Now this is again subdivided into 3 parts. The one is occupation and demand, and the second one is Saskatchewan express entry. These are the 2 will be focusing on. This one is employment offer, which means you need to have a certified job offer from Saskatchewan stating that, why you've been called by the government. Now, moving on to the next slide, who is eligible to apply for this? Now, as I mentioned before, we are going to cover express entry and occupation in demand. Now, in the express entry, you do need to create an express entry profile. However, in this category, occupation in demand, you don't need that. You can simply submit the documents and create an EOI. So we'll cover that later. In SINP via express entry, you need to have this score in IELTS, that's CLB 7. I'm going to give you the list also, how it's determined. So it's listening, reading, speaking, writing. So you need to have 6 bands each in every module. However, in occupation and demand, the IELTS score has to be CLB 4. Again, it's further categorized 4.5, 3.5, 4.4 in these modules. Now, in SNIP and express entry and occupation and demand both needs 60. Now, when we say 60, it's actually a benchmark. If you think that, okay, I am getting 60 and I'm good to go, you are eligible. It's not a really good score. Usually it depends upon the cutoff, and we'll be discussing towards the end of this presentation. So 60 is the benchmark where you are eligible to apply for immigration under this category. Now, minimum education you need to have at least for 1 year. It could be diploma, degree, certificate in both the categories. And then job experience you need to have, again, minimum 1 year of experience. Now, let me remind you here, your 1 year of experience has to be as per NOC. For example, if you are submitting the profile of admin or maybe a nurse, you need to make sure that your job and responsibility should match as per defined in NOC. That's very important. And then in case if some of the professions do need professional licensing like software or engineering, so you need to submit the request for that. Now, when you request for the licensing, it does take up to 6 months. But what you can do is that during the time of submitting the application, you can simply submit the receipt of that request, what you make to that particular division for applying that software license. For example, if you've applied for it and you just get the receipt and then submit with a set of documents. Now, settlement funds, it's again mentioned on our website, and I'm gonna give description of each and every link in this YouTube video. Now, settlement funds, whatever it's prescribed or mentioned out there, make sure you need to show it with a certificate that has to be issued by a bank, and it should not be more than 3 months old. Like, you cannot just deposit the money a month ago and then show it to them. It has to be minimum 3 months. I always advise it has to be 6 months, but 3 months is the benchmark. Then you have to submit your ECA, PCC, medical examination, and all these information. As I mentioned above, experience in your current job has to be as per NOC. Now, moving on to the next slide. Here, how you can actually apply. So once you're through with the set of documents what we have discussed in the previous slide, you have to submit your documents. The first one is you have to give the EOI, so which means expression of interest. Now, once you're done with your ECA and IELTS only, it's time to make EOI profile. That's advisable. Now, few of may not be aware, IELTS have 2 years of validity, which means that when you take IELTS, it's written out there that IELTS test is valid for 2 years only. And this EOI is not an application to SINP. It's a pre-application that allows you to fill out a form that indicate that your interest for that particular province. And when you do that, you need to pay $350. That's a non-refundable fee. And after that, you'll get an ITA. That's an invitation to apply. And that's again based on ranking system. Now, these ranking system is basically draws and usually happens twice in a month. And we'll be discussing how this cutoff thing happened towards the end of this presentation. So when under express entry, if you're through, you will be getting 600 points for federal skilled worker category, which means that when you get the ITA, it's an indication that you are getting 600 points, and you have to submit the documents within 60 days. I believe it's written out there on the website, and you will get the PPR after that. Now, when you get 600 points, it's actually a 99% it's confirmed that yes, you're gonna get federal skilled worker category program, like you will be getting the immigration. However, in this case, in occupation and demand, you will receive a letter of acceptance, and then you have to collect the documents, and then you have to send them via post. This will become paper-based process after that, and it's usually within 60 days. And then you will be getting the PPR, that passport request for stamping. Now, the total process and an express entry will take approximately 1 year. However, in this case, an occupation and demand would be approximately 20 to 24 months, and it can go up to 36 months depending upon the documentation work what you are submitting. And when you create EOI, just to remind you here, you need to make sure that it has to be renewed after 1 year in case if you're not getting the response from the government, or for some reason your as per ranking system or draws, the points are not falling in place. So you have to update it because it is valid for 1 year only. Now, moving on to the point assessment grid. Now, total points required, as I mentioned, it's 60 where you are eligible to apply for. In age, you will get 12 points, in education 23, in work experience 15 points, in language 20 points, in adaptability 30 points. We'll be covering that now here. In age, if somebody is less than 18 years old, you'll be getting 0 points. In between 18 to 21 years old, you're getting 8 points. 22 to 34, which is actually an idle age because government is looking for young people, so 12 points, that's the highest one here. And between 35 to 45, it's 10 points. 46 to 50, it's 8 points. And once you're 50, then you will be getting 0 points. Now, over here, you have to make sure that, for example, if somebody is 49 and he would be completing 49, and at the time of submission of application, he is 50. So you need to make sure that you are 50 at the time of submitting the applications, like EOI. So that's very important. Now, moving on to the second part is education and work experience. So in education, if somebody is holding master degree, it will be 23 points. Bachelor degree is 20 points. Diploma, it's again 15 points. And even if somebody has a certificate, he or she will get 12 points. In work experience, it has to be in last 6 to 10 years. So 5 years of experience would get you 10 points, 4 years of experience would like 8 points, and then 3 years will get you 6 points, and 2 years will get you 4 points, and 1 year will get you 2 points. Now I'm going to send all the information in the description box below. So now this is the language ability, what they are asking for. The CLB 8 or higher will get you 20 points, that's a maximum. And in CLB 7 it's 18, and CLB 6 it's 16, and CLB 5 it's 14, and CLB 4 is 12. So if you see that in express entry, of course you need to have a little more score. However, in the other category on demand, you don't need that. You're good to go with CLB 4. Now moving on to this chart. This I have obtained from the CIC website, so you can see. Again, the link will be in the description box below. And adaptability, now in this case, the good thing is that, you don't need to have a blood relation like we have in federal skilled worker category. In this, even if you know somebody like your aunt, uncle, that would get you 20 points here. So they just need a close family members, lives in Saskatchewan. Now, in case if you have any past work experience in Saskatchewan, it will give you 5 points. And if you have studied there, this will also give you 5 points. So yeah, that's a catch here. Now moving on to the next one, does this mean that PNP applicant can't leave the province? So that's the main questions everybody had it in mind. So By moving to another province right after you get your immigration status, your intention may be questioned, and you may be reported for misrepresentation. So here are the few things I would recommend, you have to do is like look for a job in that particular province actively, and then make the proper documentation that, what kind of job hunting you've done. And in case if you're already exhausted and you got a letter from a different company, different province, you can simply move out there, because there's no threshold as such that you need to stay in that particular province for certain period of time. Although it is advisable that 2 years is the time period, ideal time period they are looking for, but it involves a lot of ambiguity. So I would recommend that just follow these directions and you should be good to go. Now this is all PNP program is, and I'm going to discuss quickly about the draws. Now as on January 7th, like a week ago only, this was the cutoff. Invited candidates were 237 candidates. They were for PNP, and the score of the lowest candidate was 71. So you actually can see, and these are the NOC. I'm going to, again, include the link in my description box. So these are the NOCs they've looked for. So if you see this total, the 237 I was talking about only for on demand, not for the express entry one. In total, for express entry as well as the other category, it was 385 invitations, where the cutoff was 71 points for the PNP only. Now these are the invitations in last draws, so I'm gonna put this information in our description box. I hope this presentation might have helped you a bit to understand this Saskatchewan immigrant nominee program. My objective of conducting these presentation is to save your money, because when you come down to Canada, you need to have a lot of money for the initial settlement. And I would also explain you a little more about the weather thing, because a lot of people have confusion that what kind of weather it would be here. Now in Saskatchewan, summers are usually warm and dry, and temperatures range from 15 degree to 22 degrees Celsius, and that goes from mid of May till August, and sometimes it can be stretched to September. So average temperature in during the time of summer, it's 18 degrees Celsius, which is relatively high if you compare to North India. Like I am from Chandigarh, so it's pretty high that ways, and this you will experience over here only. And winters they usually begin in November, and temperature generally remains below the freezing point. The coldest months actually are from November, the mid of November till February, or maybe like March it could stretch up to, and the average temperature it goes in between -3 degrees Celsius. So even you need to make sure the clothing what you're going to wear, it has to be multi-layered here. So that's very important, like the jackets, hats, scarves, and gloves and mittens. So that's very, very important. And otherwise it's a good place to live. And I'm going to cover all other aspects, like how you can actually live here, what kind of lifestyle Canada have. I'm going to cover in my next presentation for sure. So that's all for today, and if you like this video, just give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and have a good day.